What if the reason you feel unmotivated isn't because you're lazy, broken, or failing at life? What if it's because your soul is tired of chasing the wrong things? Right now, as the new year unfolds, millions of people are trying to fix their motivation by pushing harder, demanding more, and putting even heavier pressure on themselves. They think discipline means force. They think success comes from exhaustion. And they think something is wrong with them if they can't keep up. But what if nothing is wrong with you? Welcome back to Motivational Mentor. And today, I want to share something different, something quieter, something deeper. This isn't a video about grinding harder or becoming someone new. This is about rediscovering motivation by realigning with who you already are. Inspired by Buddhist wisdom, these are 5 small but powerful habits that don't force motivation. They allow it to return naturally, not through pressure, but through clarity, presence, and inner peace. Habit 1. Start with awareness, not motivation. One of the biggest lies we believe is that motivation must come before action. We tell ourselves, when I feel inspired, I'll start. But that moment rarely comes. Buddhist wisdom teaches something radically different. Motivation is not the beginning, it's the result. Awareness always comes first. Instead of asking, why am I unmotivated? Ask, what am I actually feeling right now? Is it exhaustion, fear, restlessness, emotional overload? These feelings are not enemies, they're signals. When you fight your inner state, you drain energy. But when you observe it without judgment, something subtle happens. Resistance softens, and the energy you were wasting on self-criticism becomes available again. You don't need to fix yourself in that moment. You just need to notice. Motivation collapses when the mind feels overwhelmed by the future. Awareness brings you back to what's manageable. This breath, this moment, this single step. Instead of planning your entire life, ask one simple question. What is one small kind action I can take right now? One email, one sentence, one mindful breath. Small actions done with awareness rebuild trust, and trust is the real foundation of motivation. Habit 2. Release comparison and return to your own path. Comparison is one of the quietest killers of motivation. You scroll. You watch others moving faster, earning more, looking confident, looking ahead. And without realizing it, your own journey starts to feel slow, insufficient, behind. Buddhism teaches that comparison creates suffering because it pulls you away from your own lane. There is no universal timeline for success, healing, or purpose. Each life unfolds according to its own conditions, energy, history, struggles, and inner work. When you compare your inner journey to someone else's outer image, motivation collapses, because that comparison will never be fair. So this habit begins with a return. Return to your pace. Return to your reasons. Return to what actually matters to you now. Not to society, not to social media, not to who you used to be. Ask yourself, what kind of progress feels peaceful instead of performative? What effort feels meaningful instead of exhausting? A tree doesn't rush its growth to match another tree. It grows according to its light and soil. You're allowed to move slowly. You're allowed to change direction. You're allowed to redefine success. When comparison fades, energy returns, and motivation becomes sincere instead of strained. Habit 3. Simplify your life so your energy can breathe. Motivation struggles in noisy lives. Too many commitments. Too many distractions. Too many goals you no longer believe in. but still carry out of habit. Buddhism teaches that clarity doesn't come from adding more. It comes from removing what no longer serves. Clutter isn't just physical, it's mental, emotional, and digital. Every unnecessary obligation leaks energy. Every constant notification fractures attention. Simplicity is not withdrawal from life, it's intentional living. Ask yourself gently, what am I doing out of obligation instead of alignment? What drains me without giving meaning? What keeps me busy but unfulfilled? Start small. Clear one surface. Cancel one unnecessary commitment. As space opens, motivation doesn't come back as urgency. It returns as clarity. When life quiets down, your inner voice becomes audible again. And that voice knows exactly what matters. Habit 4. Anchor your days with a meaningful ritual. Motivation doesn't survive chaos. It needs rhythm. In Buddhism, daily practice isn't about discipline. It's about remembrance. Remembering who you are beneath the noise. A daily ritual grounds your energy. It doesn't need to be long or impressive. It just needs to be consistent and intentional. 5 minutes of quiet breathing. A single page of wisdom. Drinking coffee without your phone. A short walk in silence. This ritual becomes a refuge. A place where you return to yourself each day. Without ritual, motivation depends on mood. With ritual, motivation becomes internal and steady. Transformation doesn't happen in dramatic bursts. It happens through gentle repetition. Each time you show up for your ritual, you tell yourself, I am present, I am moving, I can trust myself. And self-trust fuels motivation more deeply than pressure ever could. Habit 5. Let discipline be kind and let go of outcomes. Many people fear discipline because they associate it with punishment. But Buddhism teaches discipline as care, not control. True discipline is gentle consistency. It's showing up imperfectly because continuity matters more than intensity. One small promise kept daily builds more momentum than occasional bursts of inspiration. At the same time, motivation collapses when you cling too tightly to outcomes. When everything becomes about results, speed, validation, success, effort turns heavy. Fear creeps in. Joy disappears. Non-attachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop letting the future decide whether today is worth showing up. You plant the seed, you water it, you give it light, but you don't pull on it to make it grow. Ask yourself, can I do this step with care, even without guarantees? Can the action itself be enough? When effort is aligned with values instead of outcomes, motivation becomes lighter, steadier, and sustainable. Here's the truth most people never hear. You don't need more pressure. You don't need to become someone else. You don't need to chase motivation. You need alignment, simplicity, awareness, and compassion for your humanity. Motivation isn't something you force. It's something that returns when your life makes sense again. If this message resonated with you, this is exactly the kind of clarity we share here on Motivational Mentor. If this helped you, like this video so more people can find it. Share it with someone who feels stuck or exhausted. And subscribe for more grounded motivation that actually lasts. Move gently, trust the process, and keep walking your path, one honest step at a time.